Back here on Big Board Sports, 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio, and 104.5theteam.com. We are joined on the telephone by Mike Puma. Covers the Mets for the New York Post, and the Mets fall to 8-8 on the season, but certainly more importantly than that will be the concern over Yoenis Cespedes leaving last night's game early, and then the injuries that come along with Lucas Duda and Wilmer Flores and Travis d'Arnaud. So to get us all up to date on all of that, Mike Puma joins us here on Big Board Sports. Mike, good morning. Chris Honorato and Brian Mariano with you here in for Roger. How are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for taking the time with us. Give us what you can on an update with Yoenis Cespedes, or I guess what the mood was like after last night's game, after seeing their slugger leave the game.
Yeah, he left the game, and the team originally called it a left hamstring cramp, but it was obvious after the game the way he was all bundled up there with that leg heavily wrapped that it was more than a cramp, and he even said so. He's going for an MRI this morning. And, right now the Mets aren't expecting him to have him for this series against the Nationals. Cespedes thinks it's going to be 2 or 3 days, which usually means 7 to 10 days, when you're in athlete talk. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's placed on the disabled list.
Mike, what are they looking at? A lot of struggles for Jose Reyes early in the year, only averaging 105 to start the season. Have there been any talks of moving in, putting in someone else to play third base, or are they kind of just going to take their beating with Reyes playing third?
Well, they're kind of handcuffed at this point. They want Reyes to break out of this, but they're not ready to bring up Rosario yet from the minor leagues, and Wilmer Flores was playing pretty well against lefties. He doesn't hit righties, and now he's out with his own thing with the knee infection. So really, they just got to put him out there right now and hope he can break out of it. But at some point in the not too distant future, if this doesn't turn around, they have to look to find another direction.
Hey, Mike, for our Mets fans listening, when does it become past the point of, it's still early in the season? When for you is, okay, this is the team that they're going to be the rest of the year?
Well, you're talking about the team's overall record right now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, based on performance, and, we're seeing a similar trend with the home run ball with this Mets team as last year. So I guess in your mind, like for me, Memorial Day is kind of where I look at the standings and say...
Yeah, I think that's where everybody kind of starts looking at the standings a little bit and really evaluating when you get to that 1/3 marker of the season at the end of May. Right now they're 8-8. They're not getting blown out by any means. They're losing a lot of close games. They just got Jeurys Familia back, which will help out the bullpen. But, I think for the most part, this lineup is what it is. They are going to live and die by the home run. So there's going to be stretches where they're really hitting the heck out of the ball and they look like world beaters. There's going to be other stretches where, it's going to be a struggle from the score 3 runs a night.
Mike, you mentioned there Familia coming back last night, had 2 walks but 2 strikeouts as well. And you meant shoring up the back end of that bullpen, because we obviously know the starters are where the stars are for this Mets team. But having him in the bullpen, could that loosen up and give a little bit more confidence to even the hitters and the starters as well?
Yeah, I think maybe it might take a little pressure off the starters. They haven't had, Gesellman the other night worked into the 8th inning. That was the first time this year that a starter had gone that deep. But they've been playing it very cautiously with these starters, especially Wheeler, coming off the 2-year rehab with the Tommy John. Matt Harvey's coming off his own thing. So certainly having Familia back, it lengthens that bullpen. And maybe it lifts a little bit of a mental burden on the starting pitchers.
Mike Puma, the New York Post, with us here. You can find him on Twitter at NYPost_Mets. Been covering the Mets since 2010 for the Post. Mike, where did you pick this Mets team in the preseason?
I went with them first place, just based on the starting pitching. Yeah. I still think they have better pitching depth than the Nationals. Now, the Nationals have one heck of a lineup, and we're going to see that starting tonight. Them coming into Citi Field. I know Daniel Murphy didn't play last night with a little bit of leg tightness, but he's expected to be back. Trey Turner is supposed to be back in that lineup. And you look at the kind of numbers Bryce Harper's putting up right now, and Ryan Zimmerman. that's a terrific lineup they're going to face. At the end of the day, though, I like the Mets pitching, and I picked them to finish just a smidge ahead of the Nationals.
And Mike, just going off the board here, I'm gonna bother your colleague Kevin Kernan with this question as well. I love talking baseball with him every opportunity we get here on the radio. But if you can't pick, I'm assuming Mike Trout is the pick. If you can't pick Mike Trout to start a team, who are you taking?
Oh, that's a good one. Bryce Harper's certainly a good pick. Manny Machado's a pretty good pick. So, I think it'd be one of those two guys. Maybe Corey Seager, Chris Bryant. I think I'd take Bryce Harper.
So a clear value on the positional player over a pitcher.
Yeah, I'll take the positional player.
Yeah.
And Mike, we talked about this throughout the week because Chris made a comment that if he were to have for one game
and let the background show that I'm a Braves fan.
Yeah, he is. But he made a comment earlier in the week saying if he had one game for a one-game playoff, he would want Noah Syndergaard as his pitcher. And we had a lot of feedback from callers and everything. Would you agree that if, in a one-game scenario, that of all the pitchers in the major leagues, you would take Noah Syndergaard?
There's a lot of good ones. I might take Clayton Kershaw, even though his October record's a little mixed. But you talk about a dominant guy. Yeah, you can make a case for Syndergaard right now. You look at his numbers: 30 strikeouts, no walks. He's been phenomenal. Syndergaard would certainly be on your short list for the pitcher.
And he scares me, Mike. He scares me. Like if I'm in the batter's box, that is one guy I just do not want to face.
Yeah, he's intimidating, and, he's throwing 100 miles an hour. He's throwing a 92-mile-an-hour slider. There's no finesse about this guy.
Mike, let's look forward to tonight. You have DeGrom versus Tanner Roark as they take the Washington Nationals for the first of 3 games. What are you looking forward to tonight, obviously, without Cespedes? You think that the Mets can pull this out with DeGrom on the hill?
Well, DeGrom's pitched very well. He hasn't been at Syndergaard level, but he's been about as good as the Mets could have wanted right now. So, you look at the position the Mets are in right now with the lineup, they're pretty banged up. I think your best hope if you're a Mets fan right now is that DeGrom goes up, gives up, 1 run over 7, and you eke out 2 or 3 runs and, win 2-1 or 3-2, something like that.
Mike Puma of the New York Post. Find him on Twitter, again, at NYPost_Mets. And you can read all about the guys coming back for the Nationals tonight, as Mike mentioned, Daniel Murphy and Trey Turner, and how long the Mets may be without a guy like Yoenis Cespedes. Mike, I'm assuming we're going to see Jay Bruce at first base again tonight.
Yeah, last night he certainly expected to be out there for a couple of more days because it doesn't sound like Lucas Duda's coming back right away. He's got a hyperextended elbow. He may very well end up on the disabled list. So really, they don't have too many options right now. They'll probably go with Jay Bruce at first base.
Mike, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and I'll let Kevin Kernan know some of the names you tossed around there as well. Thanks, Mike.
Please do.
Thanks, Mike.
That is Mike Puma of the New York Post.